You're listening to At the Mic with Keith, an independent podcast production.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of At the Mic. I'm your host, Keith Malinak. Have you ever wanted to know what it's like to work very closely with Glenn Beck every day? How about you get to hear from a guy who not only works with Glenn Beck every day, but prepares his food for him and has known him for decades. I'm talking about Matthew Shelton, who is my guest today on At the Mic. He sat down, he discussed Glenn's eating habits, Glenn's hidden talent, as well as, Matthew's, and the super awesome story about how Matthew met his lovely wife. It's really cool. And it starts right now. He's my guest, Matthew Shelton, on At the Mic.
Hello, Keith.
Hi, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
You finally named your
I came
podcast.
with a name. Yeah, last time we talked about this, I wasn't sure what I was going to call this thing, and I, thrown around some silly names, and I just settled on At the Mic with Keith. I wish my name was Mike. It would have been helpful.
Or these things were called Keiths.
Oh, yeah, that would have been...
Why don't you just find... Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
future endorsement.
Okay.
There's got to be somebody out there that sells microphones, and the brand is Keith. Definitely not Malinak.
That'd
be weird.
That's not going to happen.
Maybe if there's somebody listening out there, and your microphone company is named Keith Microphones.
Yeah, at the Malinak, it's not...
It's a mouthful.
That's not a lot of alliteration there. It's not smooth.
No.
At the Keith, it's going to take some catching on to. I think for now, I'm going to stick with At the Mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could change your name to Mike.
Well, that's probably the easiest path to take.
Yeah.
So we'll go with...
At the Mic.
At the Mic with Mike Keith Malinak. So you are, if people aren't familiar, you are Glenn's personal chef. And you know what I keep forgetting to do is have people tell the audience, their Twitter handle.
Okay.
So spell out your Twitter handle.
I actually just changed it. I think it's, because you kept tagging me and stuff, so I changed it so you wouldn't know what it was.
And then you unfollowed me. You
know why I unfollowed you?
Why did you unfollow me?
Okay. Hold on. My Twitter's at Matty with 2 T's. Shelton, but the L's a 1. But listen to it doesn't matter.
Matty Shelton, but it's a 1.
SHE1TON.
No one will find you.
That doesn't. I have like 12 followers. This is why. Listen to my idea.
Why'd you stop following me on Twitter?
Funny. If you look, I unfollowed everybody that has a political themed
wait
objective
a second.
and listen. No,
okay,
you know
ahead.
when this happened?
Huh?
This happened this last summer at Glenn's ranch.
Okay.
Right in front of him. I said, oh, this feels so good. And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm unfollowing people on Twitter. He goes, oh, I bet that's a good feeling. And I said, look. And I went to his Twitter and I unfollowed. He was like, what the? And I was like, no, listen. I was like, here's my thing. I am at that point where social media is driving me crazy. I can't look at it without it being... And here's the problem, Keith. It's not because of stuff that you post. Mm-hmm. It's because of their algorithms that they use. It'll say like, Keith Malinak follows so-and-so.
Okay.
Then all of a sudden I see so-and-so's posts. And I'm like, I don't want to see AOC on my timeline ever again. Okay?
Well,
but
I think
people that you follow her, and then all of a sudden it's just this gross mash.
Yeah, because I just want to point out that as we sit here today to record this, I literally, let's just go through my last, 6-7 tweets, right? A link to Pat's...
It's not your tweets.
I know, but I'm just saying I try not to be so political because...
It's because of the people you follow.
I understand.
Terrible. It's not me, it's Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, I did the same thing on Instagram and Facebook. The problem was that I did it right in front of Glenn, and he got all upset. And he goes, he goes, I'm okay with it. Just don't give anybody else that idea.
Yeah, right.
Which
right.
I'm doing right now.
Ta-da!
No, but I still follow. I follow Glenn just because I have to. But you
should follow me because you should have to.
I still interact with you on there.
Okay. Well, I miss you. And it's okay.
Hey, you need to get an Instagram. I'll interact with you on Instagram all the time. It's so much better.
Pictures.
Yeah, which is pictures are great. There's way less content of the verbal garbage that pops out on
that reminds
Twitter.
me. I've got to start taking pictures of the people that I interview because I'm probably going to need that at some point when I'm talking about the show. So if you want to smile over there, cheese. Why won't this? I got this new phone and it won't focus without me.
Is it an iPhone?
No, it's a...
That's why it doesn't work.
Okay. All right, so you're Glenn's personal chef. You've been his personal chef for how long now?
It'll be 7 years in April.
Okay, but you've known him much longer than that.
Whole life.
We got to get into that. There's so much to talk about. This is the part where I'm editing this out. Can't read my handwriting. I took a note about you here.
I don't think you should edit that out because I think
you like
not
this?
reading it. You're not reading your own handwriting is a beautiful thing because you're supposed to be the only person that can read it.
And that's the thing that I've been trying to figure out. Why can I write upside down if you watch Pat's show?
Yeah.
Okay, why can I write upside down on the whiteboard that is the back of my laptop perfectly, right? Would you please
it's
tell
legible.
me it's legible? That's good enough.
Legible. I wouldn't use the word perfectly, but yeah, it's very legible.
If I'm writing in front of me,
that's hieroglyphics.
It's literally, that's what my dad used to call it, hieroglyphics and chicken scratch. That's Keith's handwriting. But so I've known you then, for 7 years.
Yeah, I think we met were you at Man in the Moon?
No.
You weren't there. I met, who was there? Natasha. I met Natasha.
Did you get me and Natasha confused? I mean, it's the hair, right?
I met a bunch of radio people that
okay.
trip, and I just couldn't know if you were. I couldn't remember if you were there.
I am not memorable either.
Yeah. So 7 years I've known you.
Yep. I had more hair back then for sure.
But yeah.
And I want to know how you work around food every day and don't weigh 700 pounds. Like, how is that possible?
I cook very clean and healthy food. It doesn't translate to Glenn at the moment. But when I got hired, it was for some health issues that Glenn had. And so they brought me on to cook gluten-free and dairy-free and soy-free, and I travel with them. And so it's actually not that hard if the food you're cooking isn't... If I was a baker, yeah, super fat.
I got you.
But, I cook very clean and healthy, and so, I'm a health conscious guy, I guess.
So how did you get into the food realm as a business or as your job?
So I grew up just in the restaurant industry. My father ran private golf and country clubs and hotels. And so as a little kid, I would, go hang out with him at these places. And I discovered the love of food. And then my dad was a big foodie. So we'd go out to eat and, we would eat everything. It wasn't like, I feel for people whose, parents didn't have an eye for food like that. And so they probably didn't grow up eating the best food.
Right.
And we weren't financially successful at any means, so that it wasn't like we were having, super bougie food.
Yeah.
But we would still try. And I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, so we had great, great, great seafood. So, I was eating Dungeness crab as a little kid, which is, you go to this grocery store now and it's $50 a pound. Yeah. I had so much Dungeness crab growing up that I couldn't give it away.
Oh, wow.
So I just understood. And then the real moment that I realized I needed to become a good cook was I think I was 15 or 16 years old. And
it was to impress a woman, wasn't it?
It was to impress multiple women.
Yes!
So my buddy and I were like, hey, let's have the girls over. So we're, I think, sophomores in high school. Like, let's have these girls over at parents' house and we'll make them dinner. And he was like, okay. So when I was a kid, my dad taught me how to make chicken piccata when I was really, right? So I was like, I'm going to make these girls chicken piccata from scratch.
Okay.
And I did about 90% of the work. My buddy set the table.
No.
And
that sounds like life at my house.
And so as we made dinner, girls were blown away. After dinner, we went to watch a movie. I was sat on the couch with all three of the girls. He was sitting by himself in the recliner. And he was a stud football player, and I was, scrawny, acne. I weighed like 112 pounds, but
because you were the cook.
And I looked around at the room and I went, I think I need to get really good at this.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I think it's translated into my success rate in life because I'm married to a smoke show.
That's awesome. We'll get into that and how you met because I want to hear that story. But you grew up in the Pacific Northwest, Washington State. Yeah. Because I know you're a Seahawks fan. Big Seahawks fan. But you were born in Denver?
Yeah, I was born in Colorado. My dad had some family there, so him and my mother had moved there right after they got married. A couple years after they got married. Okay. And then I was born just outside of Denver in Inglewood, not to be confused with Inglewood, like Snoop Dogg's Inglewood. No, this is with an
suburb of...
Yeah, this is a suburb of... It's funny because... They'd be like, damn, you from Inglewood? Like, yeah, no, not that Inglewood. It's almost like the mean streets of Helena, Montana, like where Pat's,
I remember, do you remember this? I was actually in a mall in Inglewood, Colorado, right when the Denver Broncos changed their uniforms, probably, 25 years ago, whatever it was, 20-something years ago.
Yeah, from the...
Late 90s.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd seen it, and I thought, what I walked by this mannequin. I'm like, wait, whoa, what? And I sat there and I studied it. It's like, what am I looking at? The internet was young. Okay.
Right.
There was no breaking news. Here's the new uniforms of the Denver Broncos. To this day, I blame the Denver Broncos for screwing up professional uniforms because that was the first like modern look.
Yeah.
I miss those orange uniforms and the baby blue helmet with the orange D and the Bronco.
I have so many baby pictures of me in like full old school Broncos colors.
Yeah.
And then so we moved straight from there up to, I'm from Bellingham, Washington, which is right on the Canadian border. Grew up there and then, moved down here about just over 7 years. And
okay. So we get you and your family to Washington State.
Yeah.
Is that where you guys, because I know your dad, I don't know if he grew up with Glenn, but I know that they've been friends for a really long time. Is that where they met then?
Yeah, so they had, my mother's Canadian. She moved to Bellingham when she was 13. My dad moved to Bellingham when he was, I think, a freshman in high school.
Okay.
From the South. So
wait, where's your dad from?
He's from Alabama.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, he grew up, he was a military brat, so he grew up all throughout the South.
Gotcha, okay.
Was born in Alabama. Mm-hmm. So he moved up there when he was in high school. So Glenn, my mother, and my dad all were in concert choir together.
Oh, wow.
And that's where they all met. And so they all were, concert choir. This is like...
Singing.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Loud in front of people. Yeah. So they went on a trip to like Mexico together. They had all this stuff. And fun fact, Glenn actually dated my mother before my dad did.
Oh no.
And it was funny because they went on a date and like it was just the most awkward thing in the world. And so they get back to school the next week and Glenn tells my dad, he's like, "Man, I just bombed." He's like, "That was awful." And my dad goes, "Well, you mind if I take a swing at it?" And he swung, and they've been married, I don't know. That was...
decades.
That was 80, 79, long time ago.
Long time ago. Yeah. Don't look at me for math help, by the way.
I think they got married in 84.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I was born in 86. Yeah, so about that.
So we're closing in on 40 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very impressive. Very nice.
So they, another fun fact. Mm-hmm. Glenn sang
That's what I was going to ask
my parents' wedding.
Oh, he sang at your parents' wedding?
Yes. Guess what? Take a guess at what song you would picture
what year
Glenn
was it?
Beck singing. This is
1984 we settled on? Okay, so I don't know. Something from Madonna? I don't know.
Okay, wait. Let me paint the picture better for you.
Okay.
He had a ponytail.
Oh, no.
My father.
Oh, no.
My mom still said yes, even though he showed up with a perm.
At his wedding?
He got off the plane the day before. He like flown into town, and my mom went to go pick him up, and he walked off the plane, and she went, "What the hell did you do?"
Oh, no.
He had bleach blonde hair and a tight perm.
Oh, yeah. It was the 80s.
So
you gotta
imagine
forgive
those
this,
two,
man.
okay? So Glenn decided to sing. Maybe he was told or asked. He sang Ave Maria.
No.
Like,
no. Is there a recording of this?
It's got to be somewhere in my parents' attic or something. It has to exist.
If you find it before I post this podcast, I'm putting it at the end of this.
I think in my contract with Glenn, it says somewhere that I'm not allowed to ever show that video.
Okay. Well, if you stumble onto something, you can surrender.
I mean, if somebody's willing to pay a pretty price for it, I could,
yeah.
So yeah, so I've known Glenn my whole life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when he needed somebody, he knew I was in a position where I could travel a lot with him, and which I do, which has been an insane blessing.
That's great. What's his favorite dish? I mean, can you divulge Glenn Beck's favorite thing to eat?
He is a meat and potatoes guy.
Okay, yeah.
Like his birthday, he got a cowboy cut. It's just a beautiful big bone-in. It's like 3 ribeyes stacked together, and nothing makes him happier.
Wow.
He's a big dessert guy.
Okay.
I don't tread down that road very often. When I do, it's very healthy.
Healthy dessert. Yeah.
But yeah, from me at least, he's a meat and potatoes guy.
So what's the craziest dish he's ever asked you to make him?
And
oh no,
I didn't make it because it involved illegal ingredients. Yeah, it was pot brownies. No, it was haggis. One of our good friends and coworkers is Scottish, and
no,
he was telling them all about haggis and how real men eat haggis and how great it is. A bunch of BS, and it was
what is in haggis?
It was lungs. You're not allowed to It was lungs. I couldn't buy lungs in the United States.
Gross.
So that was my loophole to be like, sorry, I'm not going to half-ass it and make it without the lungs.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
we're
my
all
hands
fresh
are
out
tied.
out of lungs here.
Yeah, so that was for sure the most bizarre, nasty. But other than that, yeah.
So you obviously enjoy cooking. You've done it for your entire life since you were a teenager. Mm-hmm. As an adult, as a newly married adult, you ever have friends over or whatever? And if so, do you have to cook then, or do you want to cook, or do you take it off and make somebody else cook?
I really enjoy it. No, I don't. I really enjoy it, so it's not a job for me.
All right.
So on the weekends, I love entertaining people and cooking for them and trying out new recipes on people, and it's funny. I'm like when we go down to my wife's family's from Houston, and straight Italians / Cajun is the two families.
Huh.
So they all are fantastic cooks.
All right.
And so I get a lot of time off when I'm down there. It's great. Like her dad wakes up, he makes breakfast, he makes, big dinners. I always like to contribute when I can. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for the most part. And when I go to my parents' house, I rarely have to cook, which is a beautiful thing. So my dad's always making all sorts of stuff. One
of the things you've told me in the past is that whenever, like, your entire family, you've already alluded to your dad, being a great cook, you yourself, that like your entire family knows how to cook.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember you mentioning one time that it's quite an experience whenever you guys all go out as a family to dinner, and it's just a fun time for whoever's having to serve you, right?
It's a nightmare. So we are incredibly courteous and generous to the wait staff.
Sure.
We that's our industry, so we know to take care of people.
You've been on the other side of the table.
We give people a lot of leniency, because we know it's not just the server's fault or just the kitchen's fault, whatnot. We're kind of food snobs.
You're high maintenance.
But our whole thing is like, okay, if you're going to go, you have to know your atmosphere, right? We're only food snobs when it comes to like, if we're at a really nice restaurant and we're paying for really nice high-end quality food, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But if we're at McDonald's, your standards are lower. And if you don't do that, you're a terrible person. We were at Texas Roadhouse once, and every single plate of food was wrong. But you're at Texas Roadhouse. You're not at super high-end steakhouse. You're at Texas Roadhouse.
Well, that's
There's a reason the steak is...
Oh, my bad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you just said something about changing your standards.
For us.
Oh, your standards.
For us.
Okay,
everybody's standards are different.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't judge.
I got it. So you've worked in that industry then?
Yeah. Front of the house, back of the house.
Oh, is that like the hip phrase?
Front of the house is the people that are... Yeah, so... Yeah, you have to talk to people.
Yeah.
Which is why, so in the restaurant industry, back of the house usually doesn't make as much in front of the house because front of the house is the one that has to deal with the customers.
Yeah, and you got to look good while doing it.
Right.
So as opposed to in the back, you could just, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But you've had a lot of jobs, and you said you've been a bartender, right?
Yeah, I was a bartender for a long time. That was the great source of income throughout college, and it's I made great money as a bartender.
So they'll let you. I don't know. Where did you go to college then?
Up in Washington State.
Okay, so
community college.
So can you bartend and not be of legal age to drink, or how's that?
No, so not in Washington, which blew my mind. In Texas, you can be 18 years old.
Wow. And make drinks.
Yeah.
But you can't drink them.
Can't drink them.
You can't see if what you just created is
I
good.
think it might be 19. I'm pretty sure it's 18.
Okay. But it's below the drinking age.
Yeah. So in Washington, you have to be 21 just to serve it. So you can be a server.
Wow.
So when I first moved here, I opened up a restaurant in South Lake. Not my restaurant. I was just part of an opening. And we were all getting ready to go out one night after closing and talking to everybody like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And this one girl's like, oh, I'm just going to go home. And I was like, what? Why would you? Like, come on. And she was like, well, I can't get in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not 21. She's like, why are you whispering? I was like, well, I don't want anybody to find out. I'm like, how did you trick them into letting you bartend? You're not 21. She's like, because it's legal. Like, oh,
welcome
really?
to Texas.
I had no idea.
Well, that's funny because when I first lived here and lived in Houston back in 2001, it's where Pat and I first worked together. I remember at the time, it was still legal in Texas to drive with an open container.
Yeah, that was right before I moved here. That was that changed like 8 years ago.
Well, no. That changed right after I moved here. There's something else that you're thinking about.
I swear it was right when I moved here. I thought
because Huh?
It might. I can't remember. Something like that changed.
Something changed, but the open container law, drive around with an open beer, was legal in 2001. I know that for a fact because I had a relative drive me around and show me the area while he was drinking a beer.
Don't forget your Budweiser. Listen, I have an angle to why I think that should still be legal.
Okay, what do you got?
I think people drive more cautiously and slower, not because they've been drinking, because they don't want to spill their drink. Come on, argue me that. Listen, you're driving with a fresh cold one in the cup holder. You're not going to drive like a crazy man because then you're going to spill your beer everywhere.
That's right. That's yep.
Come on.
What he said.
Mr. Officer.
Got it. You've worked at a golf course before, like a country club, right?
Yeah, I worked there for a long time. It was, I was a cart boy.
Oh, so you didn't work in the kitchen then, huh?
Not at first.
Okay.
I was scrubbing golf clubs and...
Everybody in this building was a cart boy first, myself included.
It's a great job.
Yeah, it's fun.
Free golf.
It's free golf. It is...
You learn some good manners because you're on the golf course. They teach you to be a proper...
Well, I don't know that I picked up any good manners. I did make some, I don't want to say connections. They didn't really lead to anything other than just really good advice from people in the broadcast industry. Craig Sager, who passed away from cancer a few years ago, he was a member there. He gave me a lot of sage advice about the business.
Well, there you go.
I didn't take all of it. He was a great guy. True professional, as you know, doing the NBA stuff. There's a former hockey player there. I mean, you rub shoulders with people, you know? Yeah. And I'm just going through my brain. I'm thinking, none of them really led to anything other than just really good advice over the years.
Good stories.
But driving the cart that goes and picks up the balls. The ball picker, out in the middle of the driving range. I don't know. For some reason, I just really enjoyed, getting pelted by. I don't know what about me enjoyed that, but some weird,
like a real life video game.
Yeah, because you're daring these high school kids. Go ahead, hit me. Yeah. You keep missing. Clank. Yeah. I mean, they hit you one time, man, and that cage is rattled. It's loud in there.
I would highly recommend it for anybody that has like a 15-year-old kid. Boy, girl, doesn't matter. Let them go work at the cart barn. Learn some good life lessons.
Yeah.
And you make decent money. You're not...
Tips?
Yeah, you make tips. And the atmosphere is great because, I had some friends that went and worked at, fast food restaurants. Or, and you're mixed with all sorts of age groups of people. And when your cart kids are all about the same age.
Yeah. You're in your young 20s. Yeah. I mean, that's where I was.
Yeah, teenager into the young 20s.
Young 20s. Yeah, there were some young guys. But... See, I'm a very accident-prone individual. I don't know if you know this about me. I'm well aware. Yep. But that's where I injured myself. We had a power washer, and you'd spray out the carts when the members would return them, and you go and charge them up, Yep. I remember one day I was spraying out a cart, and some, cracker that was left in the cart, flew up and got stuck in my leg hair, right on my shin. And without thinking... Right. Remember, I'm holding a power washer. I'm like, let me get that crumb out of my leg.
Goodbye, shin.
There's a scar to this day, this weird, line.
How are you married? With lots of kids.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Can't cook.
Can't cook?
You're accident prone.
Accident prone? Well, that's why I'm married.
You're devilish.
You're answering your own question as to why be married.
I was going to say you're devilish good looks.
Oh, there it is. Well, that's wrong, too. I want to go back to your bartending stuff.
Okay.
What is your favorite drink to make, and what is your what do you think you make the best?
I love old fashions. I make a really good old fashioned.
Okay.
If you ever see somebody shake brown liquor, leave the bar.
Shake brown liquor, leave the bar.
It is.
They don't know what they're doing, or what?
Yeah, you're never supposed to shake brown liquor.
Huh.
It's clear. If it's clear, you can shake the hell out of it.
Okay, so
but brown liquor is meant to be stirred. So if you order a Manhattan or an old fashioned or anything like that, if it's ever shaken, bad news bears.
I've heard beer before liquor, never been sicker. Liquor before beer in the clear. Yeah. Now neither of those apply to me. I have the curse of not getting hangovers. And I wasn't a drinker.
Curse or a
I wasn't a drinker until my mid 30s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you work with Glenn too, right? Okay, so that's kind of what happened.
That's why.
So
I hadn't had a drink until 7 years ago.
Yeah, well, I think it was a combination of working for Glenn and working in New York City. But my point is, I'm glad I didn't discover this when I was younger, or else I would have no liver left. Yeah. And anyhow, the other adage that you just learned me was don't shake brown. Why would you even? I don't even know what circumstance would come up where you would want to shake that.
Well, people, when you go to certain establishments and they'll shake Manhattans, they'll shake old fashions.
Yeah,
It's not meant to be.
All right.
It's better if it's there. Yeah, you're not supposed to bruise that liquor.
Okay.
And so I make
bruise that liquor.
Yeah, it's called bruising it.
Oh.
Yeah. If you order like a vodka martini bruised, that means they shake the hell out of it.
Okay. Now I got it. Thank you for teaching me all this stuff.
So there is a cocktail that is of Canadian descent, which if you live anywhere on the Canadian border, you can get it, or in Vegas, because there's a lot of Canadians that go to Vegas. It's called a Caesar, not the salad. It's like a Bloody Mary, but you use Clamato instead of tomato. Clamato is Clamato juice, so there's not actual chunks of clam in it or anything like that. It doesn't taste like... doesn't taste like
that
seafood.
Shouldn't be combined.
It is. Just imagine it's just thinner, saltier tomato juice. Okay, it's delicious.
All right,
but I make a dang good Caesar.
All right. Well, but you do realize all of these things you're telling me you're going to have to make for me, so I can
down.
see for myself. Okay. Do we have a bar set up somewhere around here that we could? You gonna take care of this?
We could figure something out.
I'll bring in the ingredients if you just make all these drinks.
Why do we have to do it here? Can we do it someplace fun? Like, I don't know, the DMV, anywhere else other than here?
That's actually, never mind.
They should have a bar in the DMV.
That is genius.
Write that down.
Write it down. Okay. Bar at the DMV.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's call the governor right now and say, dude, here's the thing.
Hey, Abbott would probably be down.
He might. He's very libertarian.
Although, do you think he's ever been to the DMV?
Yeah, sure he has.
I'm pretty sure once you get to that side, like that level, people go to the DMV for you.
How does that work? Because every 6 years in this state, right? This is like the first place. This is the first place we've lived long enough where I've had to renew my license, by the way. So, yeah, well, how does that work? You never see the governor of a state. That would be...
Can you imagine seeing him sitting in a DMV for like an hour and 45 minutes with his little stupid ticket in his hand?
But not only that, but think of all the people be like, so, when are we going to get a tax cut, yo?
Right, yeah. Just harassed.
And he's stuck there. He's literally a captive audience.
He's in Arlington at the DMV, all about just like...
That's a mistake I made. I actually, and I know this is a really local conversation here, but the trick is take a day off.
Yeah.
And drive outside of the Metroplex and find you a place.
Go to the sticks.
2 hours, hour and a half away or whatever.
It's 100% worth it.
Because you end up enjoying that drive and wasting that gas is much better than sitting there and staring at a floor only to be called up and said, you don't have the right documents.
Yeah.
Are you what? I got to come back? That was Arlington.
I saw a meme yesterday of a guy who ordered Domino's to the DMV because he had been there for so long.
Yes!
And it was a picture of him sitting there signing paying the pizza guy.
Oh, brilliant. That's genius.
Hey, if anything's going to make the DMV better, it's pizza.
Yes, well, pizza is, it's...
When you lived in New York...
It's perfect.
Did you... This is okay, a fun fact about Keith here. Huh. He enjoys a Tostino's pizza how many days a week?
I've cut back,
Cut back. So 6 days a week.
So 6 days a week.
He's cut back. Which is, listen, Tostino's.
It used to be every day.
It used to be every day.
Every day, that was my
And
life.
for your bang for your buck, because literally it's a buck, and it is delicious.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
However, you are got to lower your standards because it's just freezer pizza, okay? When you lived in New York, did you eat pizza like that? Did you eat good New York pizza every day?
Not every day.
Oh, no. I would. I could eat it every single day.
No, there was a couple of places, but I didn't.
That's my ultimate cheat food in the entire world is New York, from New York pizza.
Well, they've changed the packaging on Tostino's, and
they did. They went to those bags instead of boxes.
Yeah, so they've gone from circle to square.
Yeah, which
and
is
I should have saved a circle one, and then compared it because I guarantee you it's smaller.
I bet somebody out there has one in their freezer.
Yeah, me. Have you seen But that's what I was going to get to. They freezer burn now.
Yeah.
The packaging. We got to talk, man. Me and Tostino's, because it freezer burns if you don't eat it within like a day or two.
And what's the point of having freezer pizza?
You've seen how it looks. It's your kitchen. It's your workplace where I'm, and they're destroying things. I'm sorry. It's just not pretty.
Every single day that you make one, though, I go, man, I wish I had a Tostino's.
See? Well, I'll give you the freezer burn ones that are waiting for me down the hall here in the freezer. But I've tried to explain to Pat, pizza is the perfect food. Okay? Right. It's got your dairy, that's cheese, right? It's got your grains, the crust. It's got your meat, your vegetables, your fruit, if you want to stretch it with tomato or, I guess pineapple would count, whatever.
Ugh.
I don't do that, but I'm saying that,
Psycho.
that if you wanted to get all of the food pyramid all in one serving, it's right there.
It is.
But yeah.
So I just discovered this. Our pizzas have a lot of processed junk on them, which is a reason why America is so large around the waistline at the moment. We went to Italy, and I never, after you eat a huge meal, or if you eat a whole pizza, or eat a really heavy, rich dish, you get that hunger, ugh. It's like a food hangover almost. Right? You eat a huge dinner, you have 3 courses, you have a few drinks, and you're just like, ugh.
You push away from the table and into the bed or onto the couch.
I didn't have a single moment of that in Italy. Oh. And I ate all day, every day.
It's just that quality food.
It's clean, not processed. Even the ingredients they use for the dough, it's just, they don't process their food like we do.
Wow.
And they use a lot more local stuff. So we were on the Amalfi Coast, and they were, they say, you literally see the gardens around the restaurants. It's not saying that they don't use canned products and stuff like that, but a lot of their ingredients are super fresh. And
that's cool.
You just don't get that nasty food coma.
Wow, you keep talking. I'm trying to book airfare to Italy while you're...
The Amalfi Coast was one of the most amazing places in the entire world.
Wow, and you were there for your honeymoon, right? Because you just got married.
Just got married this last fall.
That's really exciting. There's an interesting story. I don't know all the details, but I want you to tell this story about how you guys met, because it was your sister that actually introduced the two of you, correct?
I have 3 little sisters, 27, 23, and 17.
Okay. And how old are you?
33.
Okay. So you and your youngest sister are 16 years apart.
Yeah. Bailey, who's the oldest, my wife moved to Dallas about 6 months after I did. She's a local radio personality. She does a morning show. And so she's a country station. My sister started listening to her. And I had started listening to her, but she started following her on social media.
Okay.
And she was like, brother, this girl just moved here. She's stunning. She's really talented. She's a big family girl. She just checked off all the boxes, right?
Uh-huh.
So my first reaction is, okay, let's do a little Instagram stalking. Stalk her Instagram. I don't have a chance in hell. She's got thousands of followers. I'm sure guys are blowing her up every single day. How am I going to randomly meet this girl?
Mm-hmm.
So my sister, she's like, I just think you guys would be perfect for each other. So I'm like, okay, well that's
thanks
too
for
bad.
the tip.
Yeah. So a month goes by, and she just keeps harassing me. Just being just a typical sister. She just can't let anything go. And I go, finally I'm at my wit's end, and I go, you message her. Okay?
There you go.
You want it to happen so bad, take the reins, make it happen.
All right.
Didn't think twice about it.
Okay.
So 3 days later, I'll never forget this, we're on a party barge on the lake for my buddy's birthday.
Okay.
Bunch of us. There's 40 people on this boat. And I randomly go to my bag, and I didn't check my phone for hours. Randomly check my phone, and my sister had sent me a text message with 1,000 exclamation points, and that's it. And I'm like, what the hell? Did she just win the lottery or something?
Yes.
So I text her, I'm like, what's up? And she just goes, she messaged me back.
Nice.
And then started sending me these screenshots of their conversation on Instagram.
Oh.
So I'm already having a great day. It's a Saturday in Texas. It was 90 degrees. I'm on a boat in the lake.
And how many beers deep were you at this point? Yeah.
Counting on my toes.
Keep on going.
So I'm like, hell yeah. So she starts messaging her. Basically, my sister said, hey, I know you just moved here. My brother just moved here. He's single. You're single. I think you guys would be a perfect match. By the way, I'm not trying to be creepy at all. I just figured I'd shoot my shot. And she responded with, oh my gosh, I would have done this exact same thing for my brothers.
Aww.
And it
hold on.
She has 2 brothers.
But had she already seen a picture of your face yet?
Well, my sister just brilliantly had gone and taken some of my best photos.
Yes, see
and,
now
had screenshotted them and sent them.
Nice.
And, and of course she was in 3 of them. She's a good sister. So, next thing you know, I have a follow request because my Instagram's private from her. And so I'm all giddy. I'm like, go to my buddies. I'm like, guys, you know that chick that's on the air? She's just trying to follow me on Instagram. So I accept it. You know what? I waited.
I was going to say, did you wait till you were sober?
No. Oh, hell no. No, I waited for like 2 hours. Oh. And then I said she could follow me. Right? Playing the games, right? No.
I'm in charge of this relationship
not at all.
from the start.
Not at all. So I accept it. And then the next day, once I was sober, I sent her a message and I was just like, hey, did you just randomly find me on Instagram? Or did my sister do this? I kind of played dumb. Uh-huh. And she was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And
okay.
And so we started talking, exchanged numbers, started texting.
Oh, cool.
Well, that was on a Saturday that I had been on the boat, so I texted Sunday. Well, Monday, I was going out of town with Glenn.
Oh, no, man.
So we were on the road for like a week and a half, and then I was going straight from being on the road with Glenn to Calgary to my cousin's wedding for a week. So it was just this big tease because she was like, so when are you going to take me on a date? And I was like, well, funny thing is, I'm going to be gone for 2.5 weeks. So it actually worked out very, very well. So we were able to talk for those 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
And kind of got all the awkward questions out of the way. And like getting to know each other.
Nice. Yeah.
So when I did get back, we went on a date. And there was no awkwardness. It was just like we were already friends.
That's cool.
And we've been together ever since.
Wow, that's very cool. And what was your wife's name again?
Caitlin.
Because I don't know if you've mentioned that. Caitlin.
Yeah,
and
sorry. She's on 96.3 in Dallas. She's a local.
Okay.
It's the Hawkeye in the morning show.
Very cool. And you guys have a dog.
Yes, Freddie.
Tell us about Freddie.
Caitlin adopted Fred basically right when she got to Dallas because she was like, I need a companion. She just gotten out of a bad relationship. And so she was like, I need a dog. And so he was 1 year old. Mm-hmm. She adopted him from a guy that was being relocated for work and couldn't bring the dog. Oh. And so he's a chocolate lab husky mix. He is a very handsome young man. The husky really makes him really chatty, so he talks a lot, and it's hard for people to meet him and not fall in love with him. Uh-huh. Yeah, he's a big lug.
He's a big lug. Yeah. Awesome.
And he goes by Fred, Freddie, or Frederick.
Wait, so he's by choice?
Yeah, well, he's just like when he's just laying there, he's just Fred.
Okay.
When he's acting like a spaz, he's Freddie, which is most of the time. Like the sun will be hitting him through the window, and he'll like cross his paws in front of him, and like gaze off, like he's contemplating like
regal
why the sky is blue, and he'll look like Frederick.
There it is.
Like he needs a pipe in his mouth.
I want to see that picture. Yeah. But I can't find you on Twitter, so I'll probably never see that picture.
Instagram, bro. I got so many pictures of the dog.
See, I grew up with cats, all right? And
gross.
And then I had one dog, later on as a teenager, but it really wasn't until we moved here.
Yeah, you have dogs now, right?
Yeah, I have 2 dogs now. I can't imagine life without dogs now.
Right?
They're awesome. They're awesome.
You're getting so much older and wiser. You know what I mean?
Like older. Definitely older. I will say though that, I can't imagine. You know what? If you followed that's one of the things I was going to tell you. I was looking at my recent tweets. I tweeted out a video of a dog that this police officer had to cut out of a curtain or something. And the dog's freaking out, and you think he's going to attack the cop, but he's freaking out of this curtain, this dog. And then the cop cuts him loose, and the dog jumps up, and you're like, no, don't go for the cop's jugular. He was trying to, he's hugging him and kissing and loving. And see, dogs, man.
Keith, I just followed you on Twitter.
Oh, that's cool. Unfollow
now you have 14 followers.
I have 14.
Wow, you went up to
14?
Yeah, up to 14.
Last I checked, it was 12.
Wait, how do you have 8,000 followers?
I don't know. Did
you accidentally post a picture of your boob or something? And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, wow, I got to follow this guy.
Follow that guy.
Okay, so you guys have Frederick.
Yep.
Freddie, Fred. Do you want to have any kids?
Yeah, we'll have kids for sure. We're big. She's got a big family. I got a big family.
Cool.
Our wedding was, we invited 240 some people, I think. We had about 200 show up, and my mom's side of the family is huge, so her side always trumps the weddings. Like, we go to weddings and our family just takes over. Mm-hmm. Caitlin's family is gigantic.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think 140 of our guests were just her family. I mean, they're humongous.
Wow. How many siblings does she have?
she has. So her father was married. Her parents are very old.
Okay.
Her father's 78.
Oh, wow.
Her mother's in her late 60s. But he was married once before. So she has 3 older siblings that are my parents' age. And then she has 2 brothers and her from her mother. So
you're already an uncle.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. 2, her nieces and nephews that are the same age as me. It's really funny. So like one of her nephews actually officiated our wedding. And I made him call me Uncle Matthew. And he's my age.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good.
And when you were at your wedding, part of your vows, you actually thanked your sister Bailey, right?
Oh yeah. I thanked her for the whole thing. And like we actually took the
for introducing you.
We took the Instagram messages and we printed them out.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
put them on the tables so that all the relatives and stuff could see like how it all went down.
All of them?
Yep.
Wow. All of them.
All of them. What do you mean?
Cool. All your Instagram messages you printed up for all the world to see.
All the relatives could see. It was just a first message from Bailey.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, no, you're talking about you and Bailey's messages. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about you and Caitlin's message. I'm like,
no, the message from Bailey to Caitlin.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was off on some other conversation between you and Caitlin.
No. It was just the initial how it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All the exclamation marks and stuff. Awesome. Love it. Yes, great. Okay. I can ruin anything, buddy.
That's okay.
All right. So you want to have kids. I mean, there's going to be, there's life before kids, there's life with kids, and I suppose there's life without.
We are currently prime life without kids right now.
Okay. And so you're able to spend time, enjoy each other's company.
Oh, yeah.
Savor these moments.
Trust me.
It's going to get loud and it's going to get wild and you're going to find yourself driving all over the place at all hours of the day.
And I see it happening. And I can't wait. I'm hoping that we're on the cusp of like somebody solving the mommy and daddy Uber, where you just got to drive your kids everywhere. Yeah,
just wait till you have multiple kids and one has got a baseball game on one side of town at the same time. The other one has a softball game on the other side of town, and then someone still has to be at a dance recital.
Well, it looks like
ta-da!
They're all going to have to be doing one of those. Y'all are going to be dancing. Or playing softball, or playing baseball.
I see. Yeah, you guys go huddle together. You got a week to figure out what sport you want to play.
Yep. All on the same team.
It's a good plan.
Figure it out. It's not going to work like that, but I can dream, right?
Yeah. So pre-kids right now, like, what do you do to relax?
We're pretty good about staying home and just hanging out during the week. Her days are done pretty early, and I do dinner in the evening, so I'm home about 6 to 6:30. So we try to watch, we'll try to relax during the week and watch a little Netflix or Amazon or something. And we go to the gym during the day, which is nice.
Oh, that's good.
And then on the weekends, we literally do whatever we want.
Good for you.
Caitlin works a lot of concerts and stuff on the weekends, so it's fun. We get to go out and do that. And we'll go out after the concerts or, we're trying to do as much traveling as we can, but, it's hard with our schedules and whatnot.
Do you have any hobbies yourself?
Other than grilling and hunting and fishing and playing golf and typical stuff. We have some family that's property down in Iola, Texas, which is by College Station. So we'll go out there and do some country living and hanging out. Yeah, we like to go on the lake a lot during the summertime because it's so hot here.
Yeah, it is.
The closer you can be to a body of water, the better.
Yeah, that's right. So, I learned a fun fact recently. You ready for this? Okay, and it's not Texas, okay? That's not the answer. Which state has the most man-made lakes? Which state
Texas.
has them? I said it's not Texas.
What do you mean? There's only one lake in Texas that isn't man-made.
I'm just telling you. Look, let me just Google this.
You should have done this before you asked me that question.
But I knew the answer before you questioned me. It's Oklahoma.
I find that hard to believe because Texas is so much bigger.
Here we go. I'm Googling real time. Here we go.
Are you Googling which state?
Look at that. Which state has the most man-made lakes? Boom. Oklahoma comes
Interesting.
up. Yeah, I thought that was a really weird fact there, but...
well, Texas only has one... They have more than one, but they only have one big lake that is natural.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
It starts with a C. Lake Como or something.
Huh. Well, we'll just wait while you Google that here.
I mean, you could be talking about... Look at that.
What is it? Lake what?
Caddo Lake, or Cato. Caddo? It's in northeast Texas.
Cato, yeah, I think.
Cato Lake.
Sure. For the purposes of this podcast, it's Cato. All right.
But that's so hard to believe because there's so many lakes all over the state. And you just bulldoze a big old hole in the ground? Yep.
I mean, that's what Lake Lanier. If you ever see a map of Georgia in the upper right corner, not all the way up, but just outside of Metro Atlanta. Now it is part of Metro Atlanta. Lake Lanier, you'll see it. It's so big that it shows up, inside, any kind of weather map or whatever. That lake used to be a town, and underneath the water, I mean, drownings happen all the time there. I mean, the currents and the debris and all that stuff. I mean, there's gas stations under there.
Wow.
There's homes, all sorts of stuff. I think in the 1950s, they made this thing, Army Corps engineer, something like that. And there's just any manner of stuff that you see floats up. But I love it. I mean, it's a great place because I'm from the
South.
South.
The kids are all the time. Come on.
What did we talk about earlier?
Yeah.
The standards?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
certain
that's
lakes
heaven,
got to lower
man.
your standards, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's when we went back up to the Pacific Northwest with my wife. We've been up 3 times now, and each time we go, I try to get her to see and do something different, right? So I'll take her out to the San Juan Islands to go fishing.
Oh, cool.
Or we'll go up to the mountains in the summertime. It's beautiful. And
Love the mountains.
It's so funny to see somebody from the South, born and raised in Houston.
What part of Houston?
They live in the Heights.
Okay.
Like the 610 Loop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her family's had a business there for like 100 years. They make cowboy boots.
Nice.
But so we take her up there. We get in the boat, right? It's like 6 a.m. We're going out to the outside of the San Juan Islands, which is in the Canadian water.
Yeah.
That's where Victoria comes down. Okay.
Let's go back to San Juan Island later when you come back.
So we get on the boat in Bellingham Bay, and we're loading up the crab pots, fishing poles, and our plan is on the way out to do fishing. We're going to drop the crab pots, let them soak all day. We're going to go out fish, go have lunch in one of the islands, and then come home and pick up the crab pots. So we're on our way out there, and we pull out of the bay, and Caitlin turns around and she goes, "Oh my God." I'm like, what? What do you see? She goes, "That mountain. Look how close the mountain is." I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "There's snow on top of the mountain. It's 80 degrees out, and it's right there." I'm like, "Yeah, it's only like 45 minutes from the water." She didn't grow up next, and all the San Juan Islands themselves look like mountains to her. It's so funny. Even every time we go back, she's just blown away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful. That is one state I haven't gotten to. Is Washington State? Yeah,
you gotta go.
I absolutely want to
Spend the least amount of time possible in Seattle.
Oh, I just
I'll
land at SeaTac and then
go to Pike's
get out
Place
of there as quickly as possible.
Pike's Place is incredible, but the rest, I mean, it's just changed so much. But the rest of the state is beautiful.
I imagine Spokane, the whole eastern side, I would probably be into because I love Idaho.
Eastern Washington is super, super flat and deserty until you get back towards Idaho and like Coeur d'Alene, and like Spokane is, it's not super mountainous or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I'd love to take a tour of the state of Washington. Yeah.
There's a great thing called the Cascade Loop, and it's a hiking / camping loop you can do. It goes through the whole state. It's awesome.
And the thing I love about, you mentioned San Juan Island, I just love the names up there because it's like everybody was fighting over that area between Britain, the U.S., Spain. So there's these fun names, Victoria right next to San Juan Island. You know what I mean? It's just so fun.
Well, and there's
the history there.
There's I don't think there's 500 islands or something like that, and they're all there's a huge Native American population still up there. They have all the different tribes that all mash together and.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a
so
very
you got
unique,
Indian names too. Mixed in there. You ever heard of the Pig War, 1859? The Pig War that took place on San Juan Island.
No.
Oh, okay. So look that up. It's fun. It's because it was this little, this border war, but it was triggered over this this pig that had they thought it got stolen or something. I don't know. Hold on a second. I'm going to look this up because I don't know exactly what I'm talking about here. But hold on. It has other names. It's not just known as the Pig War. It's also called the Pig Episode, the Pig and Potato War, the San Juan Boundary Dispute, and the Northwestern Boundary Dispute.
Where did you hear about this?
I don't know. I'm a history geek.
That's
I just
true.
love
That's very
this
true.
stuff.
That's very true.
Yeah, I'm going to post something.
Some of the islands you can't go on because they're like protected. They're like wildlife preserves, or they're protected by the tribes and stuff. But you see every type of wildlife out there. We got to see the orcas running.
Oh, I need to see that.
We're up there, and it was so funny because as fishermen, you get pissed because all the fish leave.
Yeah, okay.
And so we were fishing on the outside of San Juan Island, which is, if you see the whale, it's not the whale watching boat. It's like the protective boats. So like these big red rubber dinghy boats. And if they're hauling through there, that means the whales are coming because they lead the whales so
Wow.
that people turn off their engines and they don't hit any of the whales. It's like very protected when they run. So we see this boat and we're like, ugh. Everybody's like, what? We're like, the whales are coming. They're like, what? The whales are coming? And I was like, yeah, this means we're not going to catch any freaking fish.
That's awesome.
Well,
Perspective, man.
Yeah, then we realized they were like, oh, this will be pretty cool for them to see, right? Because they've never seen it. So the trick is you're supposed to go to shore and turn your boat off.
Okay.
Right? But there's a big gap between where that boat is and where the whales actually are. They're way ahead of the whales, right? And so if you just leave it where you are, you don't have to go all the way into shore to avoid the whales.
You got
So we were off the shore further than we probably should have been. But you just turn your engine off plenty of time ahead. They're not going to. So you sit there and you just wait. And all of a sudden in the distance, you see they start to breach the water. And they slowly, and I mean, there was dozens of these whales came through and they were breaching right next to the boat and stuff. It was incredible.
That's cool. Do you ever get scared that they're going to like
not
knock
really
your boat up or whatever?
Not really. I mean, they're big, but I don't think they're ever, I mean, it's not like it's a giant blue whale.
All right.
You know, they're the size of the boat. They're not the size of 10 boats.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So, a fun fact about you is that I guess you can do some impressions, some impersonations.
Oh, Lord.
And I want to Dance Monkey, do something for me.
I didn't used to be able to do impersonations. I could do accents because my mother's brothers used to call the house when I was a little kid. This was before caller ID.
Your uncles.
Yeah, my uncles. Well, it wasn't my dad's. Anyways.
Okay, sorry.
So my uncles would call the house and they'd ask for my mom. But it was before caller IDs and that stuff. So the phone would ring and I'd answer and my uncle would be like, hello, may I please speak to Glenn Shelton? And I would be like, what? Mom, phone's for you. And then he would answer and she'd be like, gosh dang it, Steven. And so as I got older, I would just respond to him and like answer back. And I'd be like, no, she cannot come to the phone. She's on the toilet. Like it'd do stuff like, right. And so
That's good.
But they would do all sorts of accents when they would call. When I was in college, I did a improv class. And the school was owned by Ryan Stiles, who used to be on the Drew Carey Show. Then it was on Whose Line Is It Anyways? Yeah. And he used to play this game called To Cosby.
To Cosby.
And you would start you'd start a sentence and you'd have to finish the sentence in a Bill Cosby impersonation.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Would you like to try?
I don't know that I would like to
This
try.
is the beautiful part about it.
Oh,
just tell me what you had for breakfast. But
Can I just read about the pig war?
Yeah, sure. You can read my pig. But start in your regular voice and then finish a sentence in Cosby.
All right. So the pig war was a confrontation in 1850. I can't do it.
But see, the funny part about that is when it's funny when people can't do it, right? When somebody can do it, it's like, whoa, that's pretty good. So we would play variations of that where you would finish like you'd be like to Connery. So you'd start a sentence and then pretty Sean, you'd be talking like Sean Connery. And like that's how you would finish. So he would do this one called To Walkin'.
Okay.
And you'd have to go into Christopher Walken, which is one of the funniest impersonations anybody can do because it's really hard to do if you've never done it. But as soon as you do it once, you're like, oh, got it.
Can you do this?
Yeah. So we did one and I can't remember what we were talking about. But it was actually after the class, we were at a bar and like we'd go out with our classmates just in there. And once you get a few beers in you, you're much more apt to try things you wouldn't have tried. So we were going through it and I was talking about my beer and I was like, you know, this beer, it's crisp, it's cold, it's refreshing on my lips. And everybody went, whoa, that's pretty good. And I was like, is that good? And so I realized that it instantly brought a smile to people's faces.
Good.
And so I used to take it to the restaurant and we'd be super, super slammed. And I'd walk behind the line and be like, whoa, guys, listen, nobody's going to die because the steak was overcooked or the chicken took too long. And it would just instantly like ease attention. Then we'd be like, okay, that's a good point.
I like it.
Yeah. Then Glenn found out and Glenn is such a jerk when he finds out people can do things.
When you can do something.
He abuses
do that thing.
His power. So we'd be like on the road and I would say something and he'd be like, I wonder what Christopher would say about that.
Oh,
and I'd
no.
be like, gosh dang it. And it's hard to tell him no, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, Glenn, the soup was too hot. It burned my tongue. Wow.
I love it. That's awesome. Speaking of Glenn, you were actually his first ever intern, correct?
Yeah. It was before GBTV. It was before Fox, before CNN, all that stuff.
Yeah.
we used to have to do a senior project in high school. I don't know if they still have to do that, but it was a cumulative project that lasted your senior year. You had to build something, learn something, teach something. It would just show that you tried, basically. Mm-hmm. So I went to Western Washington University's radio station, and I did my senior project with them. I learned about radio, and they were just a DJ and all sorts of stuff. It was great. Worked out well. Glenn had found out that I was doing that, and he called me one day and he goes, "Hey, do you have any interest in coming to Philly and doing an internship with me?"
Oh, nice.
And I was like, "Absolutely not. That sounds terrible." Absolutely terrible. And he was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, I'm pretty good at this. Like, I got a pretty big successful show. And I was like, mind you, I'm 17.
Yeah.
I'm like, this sounds like hell. Why would I want to go do an internship with an AM political talk show?
Ouch.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely not. So he's like, "Okay, just, let me know." And I wasn't that blunt about it. I was very,
sure.
But he goes, "I'm going to have to change my mind."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is the middle of my senior year. That conversation happens. End of the senior year, I have to do, you have to give like a 20-minute speech about your project and all this stuff. And the middle of my speech, I start telling him how I actually got an offer to go be an intern for, and I'm looking at and he was well known. It was a big syndicated radio show.
Okay.
But he was in like, 35 markets or something. Like, he wasn't huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the look on the faces of the board, and they were like, "You're not?"
So you said during the speech, I was offered this.
Yeah, I'm not going to take it. And so I legit was like, wait, maybe I should.
Sure.
Take it.
Right.
And in the middle of the speech, I bagged the last half of the speech, and I just told him I was going to do it. So I get done. I called Glenn. I'm like, "You know what? I'll still take my offer." It was great. So my dad and I drove my Mazda MX-6, little two-door sports car, from Bellingham, Washington, which is the upper left corner,
mm-hmm.
all the way to Philly.
Wow.
I lived with him for like 8 months, did the internship, learned a ton, but didn't really have the structure for interns yet. It was literally like 8
you were
people.
A trailblazer.
There was 8 people that ever worked for him, or that were working for him.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that still work here, Stu was just a producer. Guy named Dan Andrews used to be a writer. He
Mm-hmm.
ran the board. Sarah Sullivan was a call screener.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so I did a lot of sitting around waiting for Stu to be like, "I need a picture of a hot air balloon." And then I'd Google hot air balloon pictures and send it to Stu.
That's awesome.
And it was like stuff like that, and I did a lot of trips to Geno's to pick up Philly cheesesteaks for the crew.
Uh-huh.
Which is way better than Pat's.
That's
Finally.
funny. Okay, so you lived with Glenn during this internship?
Yep, the whole
Did he
time.
make you cook for him?
No, Tanya's actually a really good cook.
Okay.
So she did all the cooking at that time.
Okay.
But yeah, I would, they'd go away on the weekends, and I'd take care of the dog, and they had just adopted Rafe.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Rafe, you're adopted, if you didn't know that.
Oh.
Sorry. He's not going to listen.
Spoiler alert.
This isn't about FORTNITE or anything like that, so he's not going to listen. That's how he would listen if it was. But
yeah. Maybe I'll title this podcast FORTNITE with Matthew
You would
Shelton.
get so many listeners if you listen, if you named it something better.
I'm putting FORTNITE in this title. It's going to happen. FORTNITE with Matthew Shelton. And then they're going to listen for the entire hour, and they're going to get to the end, and they're like, "Wait, we're..." Now they're talking about... now
and
they're
it's
finally
over.
talking about FORTNITE,
Okay,
and good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
No,
Good morning this morning. Good
I
night.
do have a question, though. When are you going to cook for me? Like, in what dish would
I
you
got
cook?
a hot pipe and Tostinos waiting for
Yes!
you.
Yeah, wait.
No, what do you want? I'll cook
I
for
don't
you.
know. Cook me something yummy sometime,
Well,
I'll even bring in the ingredients. I'll
you
bring in
have
the
the
ingredients.
palate of a 7-year-old. So chicken nuggies shaped like dinosaurs, it is.
Shaped like dinosaurs?
Yeah, I know. T-Rexes are my favorite.
I'm there. Cool. Look forward to it. Thank you, Matthew Shelton, Glenn Beck's personal chef, joining me here today for At the Mic. Did we settle that's going to be the name of the show?
I guess I like At the Keith better,
At the Keith with Matthew Shelton. Okay, thanks, man.
This has been At the Mic with Keith, an independent podcast production. Look for At the Mic Show on Twitter to connect.